turned up and I met my executive, Peter Rice, and Peter's job, and he's here today. I just took that drink of water so he could sweat just a little bit more. But his job was to shepherd in new creative, types and ideas. So anyway, Peter had assembled the top brass to hear, what this wacky Aussie guy who made Strictly Ballroom had come up with. So there was a lot of focus. So anyway, a few days before the pitch, Peter Rice says to me, okay, Baz, hit me with it. So, I'm sure he's sort of expecting Strictly Ballroom too. So I said, well, Peter, it's a modern-day Romeo and Juliet, the play by William Shakespeare, and it's set in a Miami-like world, right, where the Capulets and the Montagues have guns, and, the girls are in swimsuits, and it's on the beach, and, there are all these, language gags. I had these language gags. So, there'd be the high-security compound of the Capulet mansion, and Romeo would leap over the compound wall, and the lights would go, vroom, and go, it's our lights behind the window breaks. Sort of big laugh, So I thought I was doing really well, because, and anyway, so I stop, and I finished telling the story, and I thought, that kind of went well, and I look over to Peter, and he's going, that is a great idea. I mean, he was almost, lights are flashing before his eyes, and my life is over, he's thinking, that is a great idea. And all he was thinking was, oh my God, I've got to go in there in 10 minutes. He says, great, Bash. It's a great story. Just, go in there and tell the story. It's a great story, but just one thing. Don't mention the language, right? Tell the story, don't mention the language. Don't mention it's Shakespeare, until the end. Right? And I said, well, what if they ask if it is Shakespeare? And he says, if Tom asks if it's Shakespeare, right, just say, Tom, I respect your question, but I would like to answer that at the end. So, cut to Peter Chernin, Tom Jacobson's office. Everyone's there totally focused on me. I go, it's a modern day Romeo, and as soon as I say the word Juliet, he says, okay, is that Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare with the original language? Tom, I respect your question, but I would like to answer that at the end. And he goes, okay. So I just started to tell the story. So I go, there's this guy, Romeo, and he's got a shirt, a blue Hawaiian shirt on, and the girls are there on the beach, and I could feel this bead of sweat forming on my forehead and dribbling down like that. And I said, and the Capulet mansion has a wall around it, and Romeo, he leaps over the wall, and the lights come on, and he goes, the lights are on. 1.5 hours later, right, I say, and they die. And Tom is feeling like so sorry for me at this point. He leans over and he says, like talking to an accident victim, he says really encouragingly, I hear there's music in it. I go, yes, there's music in it. And Tom goes, what kind of music? And I go, contemporary music. And he goes, what kind of contemporary music? And I go, more hits than you can possibly imagine. And they kind of laughed. It was such a ridiculous thing to say. So we went, yeah, right? So I just thought, look, it doesn't matter, it's a disaster. It doesn't matter. Look, it is Shakespeare. It's William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. And Tom says, so it is a play by William Shakespeare. I go, yes. I said, look, take a punt on the draft and give me a few $1,000s more, and I will make you a video version of the scenes in their modern costumes, and then we'll all sit down, and if the idea doesn't work, I'll be the first one to say, if we start falling about laughing when they get out and start speaking the language, we'll say, it doesn't work. right? And I'll do Strictly Ballroom too. Anyway, they did give me the few $1,000s, which I was able to go to Leonardo before agents, before business, talk to him about the project. He came to Australia flying coach for no money, without any sign of a deal, simply to enjoy exploring the idea, to see not only if we could convince the studio, but firstly if we could convince ourselves that it could work. Why don't we have a look at it?
And Juliet is the sun. Rise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who's already sick and pale with grief that thou, her love, art far more fair than she. Be but not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it.
Romeo! The love I bear thee can afford no better turn than this. Thou art a villain.
Tybalt, the reason that I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage in such a greeting. Villain am I none. Therefore farewell. I see thou knowest me not.
Lie! This will not excuse the injuries that thou hast done me! Turn and draw! Draw! Turn and draw! 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 Turn and draw! Draw!
I never injured thee. So good Capulet, whose name I tender as dearly as mine own. Be satisfied.